Napoleon Bonaparte conquered nearly all of Europe. Then he made one decision, one, that ended everything. 600,000 soldiers marched into Russia. Less than 100,000 walked out. But what if he never gave that order? What if the greatest military mind in history didn't blink? By 1811, Stickman Napoleon doesn't just rule France. He rules everything. Spain, Italy, Germany, dissolved and redrawn by his hand. The Netherlands, Poland, 70 million people answering to one man with a hat. His legal code is still used in 40 countries today. His military record? 60 battles, 50 wins. The man had never lost a war, not once. So why Russia? Why did the most rational military genius in history do the single most irrational thing in military history? Here's what broke Napoleon's brain. He had Britain cornered. His Continental System, a full European economic blockade, was strangling British trade. No European port could trade with Britain. It was working. Britain was broke. And then, Tsar Alexander of Russia quietly reopened his ports to British ships. One man, one decision, undid Napoleon's master plan. And Napoleon, the man who never lost, couldn't let it go. His advisors said, don't. His marshals said, don't. His own instincts said, don't. He went anyway. Okay, that's the real timeline. 500,000 dead, an empire destroyed. But we're not here for that story. We're here for the other one. Because if Napoleon keeps his army intact in 1812, if he just doesn't go, what happens next isn't just a stronger France. It's a completely different 21st century. No unified Germany, no World War I, no Hitler, possibly no United States as we know it. I'm not exaggerating. Stay with me, because this is where it gets genuinely insane. With 600,000 soldiers still alive and loyal, Napoleon doesn't retreat. He redirects. Britain is still the target. He launches the naval invasion he'd been planning since 1805. His Grande Armée, the greatest land force ever assembled, boards ships. And this time, without the Russian disaster draining his treasury and his generals' loyalty, the invasion of Britain is not a fantasy. It's a logistics operation. Here's the domino nobody talks about. German unification in 1871 only happens because Prussia fills the power vacuum left by Napoleon's collapse. A living Napoleonic empire means Prussia never rises. No Prussian military machine means no unified Germany. No unified Germany means no Kaiser Wilhelm. No Kaiser Wilhelm means the alliance system that triggered World War I doesn't exist. The assassination of Franz Ferdinand happens, and the world just shrugs. No war. And here's where your brain short-circuits. Adolf Hitler's rise is directly caused by World War I, the humiliation of the Versailles Treaty, the German economic collapse, the specific resentments of a defeated nation. No World War I, and a young Austrian painter named Adolf Hitler lives his whole life in total obscurity. History never learns his name. Now, what fills that vacuum? A Napoleonic Europe that survives into the 20th century looks less like the EU and more like a Roman Empire reboot, centralized, Latin-coded, Napoleon's legal system hardwired into every nation. The Cold War still happens, but it's France versus Russia, not America versus Soviet Union. But here's the thing nobody wants to say. Napoleon winning isn't a fairy tale. Napoleon was not a democrat. He was an emperor who believed he was the state. A permanent Napoleonic Europe means no 1848 revolutions, no push for parliamentary democracy across the continent. The ideas of liberty that France itself unleashed, they get locked back in the box by the same man who inspired them. You don't get Hitler, but you might not get freedom of speech either. You get order. Prosperity, maybe, but not self-determination. Not for everyone. So, here's the honest verdict on the timeline that never was. Without Russia, Napoleon probably takes Britain, probably rules Europe for another 30 years. The map of the world in 2026 looks nothing like what you see today. No World War I, no World War II, no Holocaust, but also no liberal democracy as we know it. No self-determination for colonized nations, because Napoleon's empire runs on the same colonial logic as Britain's, just with a French accent. History gave us the worst of Napoleon, his hubris, his catastrophic retreat, 500,000 dead in the snow. But it also gave us the end of Napoleon, and in that ending, ironically, came the democracy he never intended to create. But here's what keeps me up at night. There was one man, one of Napoleon's own generals, who saw all of this coming, who warned him, who had a plan that would have let Napoleon keep Europe without touching Russia. Napoleon dismissed him, exiled him. And that general's plan? It might have worked. Napoleon had everything India never got the chance to build: an unbeatable army, a continental empire, a legal system rewriting civilization. He wasted it in Russia. But 55 years earlier, there was a civilization that would have used that power differently, that was building something the world had never seen. Until one afternoon in 1757, when one general took a bribe. That story hits harder now. Watch it.